What do you think is the future of space?
Future of space.
Future of space.
Future of space.
Future of space.
स्पेस की दुनिया में नए कारनामे करने के लिए मशहूर इसरो ने आज दुनिया के सबसे छोटे सैटेलाइट कलाम सैट को लॉन्च किया है।
The Kalamsat, which was inspired by the Gulab Jamun, smallest satellite by Space Kids India.
Can you tell us exactly how Gulab Jamun inspired it?
And while having that Gulab Jamun, they got an idea that can we make a satellite of this size?
The lightest weight satellite in the world. It's called Kalamsat, named after former President of India, APJ Abdul Kalam.
If you are talking about one invention for that matter, right? So instead of just talking about the invention, if you talk about the person and you take people on the journey of that person of doing that invention, because now they're part of the entire journey and not just the invention.
ऊपर से भारत कैसा दिखता है आपको?
जी मैं बगैर किसी झिझक के कह सकता हूँ कि सारे जहां से अच्छा।
What do you think, is the future of space currently from where we are at the moment? I mean, it's the same we discussed, with Srini sir regarding this, but I want to understand it from a storyteller's point of view. What are our jobs right now? Because, whenever we hear about space, stories such as the one you told me about the fiction turning into reality, story about letter from Valentina to Valentina, these are very rare in this domain specifically. They are not celebrated. They are not brought out into the light the way they deserve to be. So what are our jobs as storytellers right now? From the way things are, taking shape post Chandrayaan 3.
First I'll give you one technical answer, right? So when we talk about reaching out to people, right? When we talk about spreading science, talking about science, I think there are two ways of doing it, okay? One way is taking science to people, and second way is bringing people to science. If we actually look at all the research organizations in the country and in the world, most of the time they are busy taking science to people.
That a lot of people not interested into because they don't understand it.
Yeah, but it is also required, right? So they like, even if you look at the research organizations like TFR or other organizations, if you look at their public outreach programs, most of them are like, showcasing science experiments, giving access to people of the labs, hosting science conversations, like, describing science from by scientists and a lot of other things, right? But if we want common people, and in general everyone to get into this domain or to understand in this domain, or as I said, to appreciate the science,
or at least
and
acknowledge.
just acknowledge, right?
Yeah.
We need to bring people to science, right? And to bring people to science, what is the best way?
Take the people of science to the people of masses.
And
Basically, something like that.
I'll tell you, I'll give you one very simple story. I'll tell you one very simple example. So, as I said in the beginning, I got into this, like, accidentally. I used to write on Facebook, time pass. Started getting calls from the editors asking me if I can contribute. I started contributing. And I was writing with before I turned 21, I was already writing with a lot of platforms, right? Including Express Groups, Lok Satta and other platforms. And if you know, in print media, now they put picture, but in most of the print media, they do not put picture of the person, right? So it's always name and the email ID. That's all. So I wrote few articles with Lok Satta then, and I was around 21 and I was traveling to Bangalore in the train. Till then, I was not serious about talking about science to people. I was just enjoying doing it, getting opportunity. I know I can do it, so I'm doing it, right? So I was in the train going to Bangalore. It was my first ever solo travel to the different state altogether. And my dad actually got into the train. He helped me make my bed and everything. And then he got down, and everyone has seen that. So people knew that this girl is like, new in the train and everything. And I always carry 2-3 books with me. Because it's up to my mood, right? Now I want to read something. After some time, I want to read something else. So I sat down, like I created my whole cabinet. I remember I was sitting at this side of the train, at the lower seat. Near window, I put all my chocolates and lollipops and all the books and diaries and everything. And I was reading quietly. there were two boys who were sitting near the window. They both were going to, and in train we do not have like random conversations with people, and we don't go to them and ask them, oh, what do you do, and all those things we don't do. The conversations in the train are always occasional conversations, right? So I overheard that they were going to Bangalore for audit. So you decide in your brain that, oh, they're going for audit, it means they are from commerce background, right? Now I'm sitting and I'm reading one random Marathi book. After everything is done, I get excited and I start reading one space science book. So one of the boys sees the title of the book and gets interested. And he's like, "Are you also interested in space?" So this entire conversation happened in Marathi, and I was like, what do you mean by also?
Who else is interested?
Who else is interested? And he said, me. I said, that's very interesting. I overheard that you are going for an audit, so I'm assuming that you are from a commerce background. So I love asking people, why are they interested in science? What interests them, etc., etc. It gives us also a perspective. So I asked him, why and how are you interested in space? Would you love to share that story with me? And he said, yeah, why not? I would love to share a story. You know what? Recently, I read newspaper every day. I said, okay. Then he says, recently, I have, there is one lady has started writing about space in one of the Marathi newspapers. And I started reading her stories. And, she writes about people and the stories and, what went into it and everything. No technical jargons, no technical stories, everything. So I, after knowing all the background, I want to know about the mission. So I go on the Google and I read about it. So I have started reading more about it. I said, wow, that's great. Then he said, I saw you reading Marathi book previously. So you understand Marathi and it means you read Marathi. Because there's people understand Marathi and people can read Marathi can be two different things, right? So do you read? So would you like to read her? You should refer her articles and read her articles if you are really interested in space. You will find some really interesting stories. I said, I would really love to. Tell me her name. Tell me the newspaper, and I would really love to buy and explore all her past articles also. And then I said, how did you discover and what do you think about her writing? And we are just talking about her without knowing who this person is, right?
Well, I know who is her.
And he's telling me that, I enjoy this about this woman is like, I think she has started writing very late, but it's okay. I said, what do you mean by very late? So he says, I'm sure she must be in her 50s or something. I said, why? Because she writes about first-hand experiences. Which young person will have first-hand experience? I said, okay, makes sense. Tell me her name, na. I will check that. So he did not remember my name that moment, but he Googled and he's like, her name is Ruchira. I said, what Ruchira? Because I knew there was no other Ruchira writing, only this Ruchira was writing then. So he said, Ruchira Sawant. I said, which newspaper are you talking about? He said, Lok Satta. I said, why? What makes you think that, this person is 50-year-old? And he said, no, this person is, what if I tell you that this person is young girl? First thing is, he was not ready to accept that person was a young girl. Then I said, I know that person is a young girl because it's me. He was not ready to accept. He actually tested me. He asked me what was my last article, was it published? Was it a front lead article or it was in the inside of paper? Then he also asked me few of my article ka naam, and then after a certain point, I really got irritated and I'm like, wait. And then I opened my email box and I showed like the emails I have received from readers. And I was like, I am really that person. And then they got so excited about the entire thing. And for me, for the first time in my life, I was meeting my reader like this, okay?
With a live feedback.
That too, this kind of entire setup. So I asked him, what do you like the most about these writings? If we can have an honest conversation, or what would be your suggestion? What makes you wait for these articles, or why do you want to read this kind of articles? He told me one very simple thing. He said, see, I understand English, but I'm from commerce background. So if I want to learn something new, then I won't get to the technical details. One thing, if something technical comes in front of me, I would not go ahead with that. Second thing is, space is always shown as a alien topic or something which is out of reach.
Or rather elite.
Right?
Yeah.
So, if something technical about space is coming in the newspaper, I would stay away from that thinking only science people are supposed to read this. And third thing, if it was in English also, I wouldn't have read that because English is not my first language. So, even if I want to get introduced to something new, then also I will not choose English as my language to get introduced to this.
So what is
new
the learning
domain.
out of this for us is basically you have to keep it human. You have to keep it in a way or an understanding that the person really feels at home with. And at the end of the day, you don't get too much into the technicality of those things when it considers, when it's about space, but you bring out the human element. You bring out the story behind the story. You bring out the people who are actually making it happen rather than what they made happen or how it got happened. So I think that's a great learning. And I think that is the only reason, I associate to so many of the things, which are made in Hollywood, like, the October Sky. That's a movie that's an industrial town. The person gets influenced out of Sputnik and, decides to make his own rocket. And even First Man, as a matter of fact, I loved Gravity, even though it is fiction. But again, these are stories who celebrate people, their resilience, their courage, their perseverance. And I would really hope that, space-based movie comes out of India that is truly dedicated about the people and not about the masala around it. I think so. I mean, that's what would get me into it. Because, when I joined this, like 6 months back, I had no idea about propulsions or I had no idea about, what they're doing. But with the things, I get an understanding. Our team gets an understanding. But what drives me, what gives the purpose to my purpose is because of the people behind those vision. People behind those numbers, their stories, their hardships, their struggles, their sacrifices. There are so many things which just puts the entire canvas into map and, gives that sense of clarity for us that why are we doing what are we doing. So I think that is very important.
And also, I think it's like, people, if you take them on the journey of a people, if you are talking about one invention for that matter, right? So instead of just talking about the invention, if you talk about the person and you take people on the journey of that person of doing that invention, people feel more connected with the invention also. Because now they're part of the entire journey and not just the invention, right? So that is another learning that I had. I remember I wrote this article in one of my columns about uranium extraction.
Okay.
And my audience is masses. I was talking about one research happening in DRC and I was like, I need to break it down to the level where a common person should understand it.
About uranium.
And uranium extraction.
Okay.
And I have this habit, right? I stay with my Pushpai, and after writing any article, I read out to her around, early morning, around 5 a.m. We both sit down with the coffee or a tea, and then I read out to her. And she's not from science background, so whenever she doesn't understand, she stops me, and I will explain that part to her till the time she understands it. So I remember I spent a lot of time on that article, fine-tuning it, because she was not understanding a lot of concepts.
So you wrote to a level where she understood it. And
Yeah.
that's when that your normal reader is going to understand it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then when that article went in the newspaper, not kidding, that is one of the articles when I received maximum emails. And this particular email is really close to my heart, because when Homemaker wrote to me saying, before this in newspaper I used to open the recipe column and I used to think this is something that I feel connected with and I understand. But today for the first time I could connect with the uranium extraction also, and I felt like I want to read science and understand it.
Yeah.
So I think as a storyteller, as a science communicator, our job is not just spreading awareness about science, but making it a lifestyle for people.
So that it can become a part of their life.
So
You
that
know?
it can become a
Yeah.
part of their life.
And that's when they can feel associated with this industry. And with any industry, when the common man joins that industry, like entertainment or sports or food or culture or festivals, as a matter of fact, it gets into the the humongous version of it, I would say.
I have another. I would take this to the next level, okay, of understanding, which I got again from my readers when I had interactions with them. Another thing I realized about taking science to people, and particularly masses, is also making lot of things accessible to them, not just the science. I'll give you another example. People might think these stories are made up stories, but this really happened, okay? So I was in Pune, traveling in an auto, and this auto driver suddenly starts talking to me in his tuta-futa Hindi. When he realized I'm also very bad at Hindi, he starts talking to me in Marathi. So he asked me, do you read and understand Marathi? And I said, yeah. Then he said, there is a newspaper called Lok Satta. So that time I was writing a column with Lok Satta. And I'm writing column about women in science and the future of science. And suddenly an auto driver is talking about that column to me. Okay, I am all confused because I think I also had biases that my column will be read by this kind of people, that kind of people, and I was not expecting an auto driver having this conversation with me. But I'm confused, why is he talking to me in third person? Because he is saying there is one girl who writes that column. I'm like, okay, then why are you telling me about it? Do you want me to read this column? I was also playing along. So he says, if you don't read and if you understand Marathi, you should read it. I said, okay. But what, makes you talk about it to me today out of nowhere? And he says, along with her article, that Didi's picture comes. And you have a hairstyle like her.
You're very similar face, no?
Yeah, so he didn't remember the face, but he remembered the hairstyle. So he was like, you have a very similar hairstyle. I was like, okay. And he said, I cannot write email. I do not have email ID. Okay. Her email ID appears with the article. If her mobile number would have been there, I would have called and told her. Can you do a favor on me? Because you look like her. Can you write the email to her and tell her this? I'm like, what do you want to tell her? And he tells me that in his family, after COVID, during COVID, all children got mobile phones, right? So his children also got mobile phones, and his son used to spend a lot of time on mobile phone, doing a lot of time pass playing games. So in his school, his science teacher introduced this column to the classroom, and every time when the article used to appear, the science teacher used to read that in the school premises. So this kid gets interested in the stories, and he comes home and tells his parents that we should buy newspaper. Okay? He tells me that in our entire generations, this is for the first time we have started buying newspaper. So when we are talking about science, we are not just spreading science, we are actually inculcating a lot of habits which are in a way considered as elite habits. Right?
Changing the lifestyle, you're
You are
influencing the way they think, the way they
lifestyle
act,
and
behave.
everything.
Yeah, for better.
Yeah, and then he tells me that we have started having this, buying newspaper. And now what my son does is he reads the article every Saturday. Until the next article appears, he reads more about it on his phone. So he spends more time in reading good things. And when we sit down for a dinner, because that is the only time we get to, spend together.
We discuss about this.
We discuss about it. Just imagine, in an auto driver's family, they are celebrating Science Hour. They are spending 1 hour discussing science every day. And then he told me that where he stands with the auto stand, he has started telling people that you should buy newspaper because there are a lot of other things in the newspaper except this article also. And now he's like, there is another thing. And after listening to all this, I had goosebumps. That particular column, I just started for sake of starting. I was not thinking about, this kind of impact. And I was like, can I tell you something? Your message has been reached because I am the same person. And he got so excited. He called his son. He made me talk to him and everything. And then he told me there is something that I wanted to tell only to the writer. And that's why I did not tell you this before. And I said, what is that? He said there was one story of one auto driver's daughter who became one of the leading scientists of HIV vaccine. That one story inspired me and made me realize that even my son can do anything. Till that day, I was thinking about limited career options for my child. But that day I realized if that auto driver's daughter can do anything, then my son can also do anything. And I just need to support my son and not limit his dreams to a certain things. And he was like, till then, I used to think that science or, all these particular things, particularly space and research, are for people from particular background, which is socio-economic and every kind of background. Then there are a lot of other things involved in it. But that particular story made me realize that there are no barriers as such.
Yeah, go ahead, continue.
So the point that I wanted to make here is bringing out the stories to people or giving platform and bringing the stories in light also makes people feel connected with science because they find heroes which they feel connected with, who come from the same background as they are from.
Yeah.
Right?
They feel a part of it. They feel just the way you said, you started about Tocho-chan, if I'm saying the name right. You read someone's work and you realize that, this is just not my boundary. I have to cross it and see the ocean beyond. Same way someone reads your work and they just don't feel that the knowledge is educating them, but the knowledge is inspiring them. The knowledge is, opening up a portal for them. So that is also very important, which brings knowledge just not for the sense of awareness, but knowledge for the sense of being. That is very
Very true.
very true. And when you ended that story, it really got me goosebumps that, the words, thoughts, someone's mind can actually inspire a real person's real life to a dimension that they have probably never imagined. Wow.
I met this group of girls in one of the rural parts in Maharashtra. And these girls they came to meet me after my talk, and they told me that we want an email ID which you will not change anytime. I was like, I have around 5 to 6 email IDs. You need to tell me the reason and then I can give you an email ID accordingly, right? So these girls tell me that in their family, girls are not allowed to get educated after 10th or 12th. They get married, right? So when the school teachers started reading these science stories to them, they realized that, okay, these stories are available in Marathi. All the elders at our home reads Marathi, right? What they started doing is they started borrowing newspaper, taking it home and asking their parents and grandparents to read those stories. So first few months they did not say anything. Parents started appreciating the people getting featured in the column, and they're like, oh my God, this girl has done this thing. Wow, amazing. They let it happen for a few days. And then after a few months, these girls told their parents that we can also be one of them if you let us study, right? And it was again like, for their parents, because that information was in Marathi, in their mother tongue, they could read that. If that was in English, even
couldn't
though
have
girls
related to
couldn't
it.
have, but they
Yeah.
couldn't have convinced the parents. The conviction happens only when you understand it directly, right?
Or when you talk to them in a way or in a language that they understand or they feel at home with once again. Wow.
So that is the reason why we should take science stories to people, because it is not just about spreading science. It is about changing the lifestyle, changing mindset, opening a lot of doors which might not be of science but of different opportunities which they truly deserve but are not aware of. So
Yeah, and I think India has so many languages, so many beautiful states, and every story can have a different cultural context in every reader's and receiver's mind. So that might innovate ideas that we probably, a person speaking 1 or 2 languages can just think of. There's so many ideas, so many options. Wonderful. Would you like to tease the audiences on the Celestial Rendezvous and the Gulab Jamun to the stars?
okay, so I do not have Celestial Rendezvous here, but the very interesting story of Celestial Rendezvous is I met Srini when, so I was working on one ground station program, which was a SatNox ground station program. And it was Asia's first SatNox ground station. And we had our display at Wave exhibition. And that's where Srini came to interview us. I was in my first year, around 17, 18-year-old girl. And he was calling me kid then. He refused that now, but everyone knows this in our team. Yeah. So since then, we are in touch. And
How many years has it been now?
around 10, yeah. 2015, yeah.
Wow.
So with him, I have met a lot of people. At the same time, I heard a lot of stories, right? So there is, he has his own rituals, a lot of rituals, which you would read in the book. They inspired me, and I just got this thought that why doesn't he write about it and make the stories public for people? Because as I told you, it's not just about telling stories, but it is about making people interested in the domain and talking about the nuance in the domain. So that's where the Celestial Rendezvous came in the picture. Okay, I have written the introduction of the book where I spoke about some of my interactions with the people, but at the same time, mostly about the thought behind the book. Then the Atomic Rendezvous is the second part of that series where we have spoken about the people from the atomic domain, where a lot of atomic stories are featured. So if you want to know more atomic stories, you should read in the book rather than me telling them and narrating every story here. And this is the first book which I mean, I haven't contributed to this book like in a writing, but this is the first book Srini wrote after I met him in a way, from Gulab Jamun to the Stars. This particular book is about the Kalamsat, which was inspired by the Gulab Jamun and which was the smallest satellite by Space Kids India. So this book talks about the story of those children, and I think again the same, taking the same thread of the conversation, this is a story of the people behind this and how they made it happen, how one Gulab Jamun also can inspire you to get into the space. So,
if you look at it with the right perspective.
yeah, so it's all about the perspective.
Can you tell us exactly how Gulab Jamun inspired it?
It's a very interesting story. So Srimati Keshan, who is the founder of the Space Kids India, and all her students whom she referred as her children, they all were sitting at the dining table and eating. And one of them, Rifat Shahrukh, he told her that we want to eat a gulab jamun. And he also mentioned that you will not order it, you have to make it. So she went to the kitchen and she made a gulab jamun for all of them. And while having that gulab jamun, they got an idea that can we make a satellite of this size?
CubeSats, as we call them today.
Yeah, and then with one of the NASA's mission, this particular satellite.
From Gulab Jamun to the Stars. Guys, if you want to have a read, have it while having a good Gulab Jamun. Perfect. How was it? How did you feel?
I enjoyed it.
Yeah. And I think I saw space from a very unique perspective. And, the question thing, what Mr. Chidambaram passed on to you, I think it passed on to me also in a way. So, yeah, as a storyteller, I think we are not just here to look at things and just state them as facts, but I think we have for the bigger responsibility. Yeah.
Very true.
Because scientists can only work what they know and what they are destined to do at the end of the day. But how we bring out their stories that, gives meaning and value to their work, even after like 6 or 5 decades from today, which will make them, or probably with their work, immortal. That is important.
And making them heroes and superheroes and
I think not even heroes or superheroes, just another child reading about it.
and
Let's say
just
60
making
years.
them new role models.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And just finding their sense of safe space into it that, what, even I can do something like this. I think that's what it is. And lastly, how's your relationship with Mr. Srinivas Lakshman? In a word or in a sentence, if you'd like to say so.
We are friends.
No,
we are
I
very
mean to
good
say,
friends. Yeah.
I mean, how do you help each other? How do you support each other? What kind of roles are you kind of playing, into the kind of humans you're becoming or growing into? And what are some of the fair share of, high and low moments that you have, allowed yourself to be vulnerable in front of each other and, just make each other a part of each other's lives? Because that's what I feel from the moment I saw you two together, inseparable. That's all inseparable is all I can say.
I have learned a lot from Srini, and as I told you, I was very young when I met him, and I did not know the space of the space in that way. I was just exploring. I didn't know that I will be writing and I will be communicating science. But ever since we met, we started talking about science, and he has also taught me a lot in the sense of how to write, how to present, how to interact with people. I remember the first time when we met Dr. Kasturi Rangan, he told me that you have got a right person as your mentor in a way. Why? Because even if you have a single doubt in space domain, you should not ask that question to any scientist like us. You should go to Srinivas because he is the right person to make it simple for you.
Because he's lived it all.
Yeah, and because he is not a scientist or he doesn't come from a science background, he knows how to explain it.
To a 5-year-old, probably.
And another thing is his never-ending learning aptitude, right? Till today, every day he spends few hours reading about the domain, keeping himself updated. I remember we were writing one script for Planetarium show for Chandrayaan 2 together, and for that I was under impression, that I have already written so many articles on the subject from so many angles that we can finish this in 15 minutes because it was just 15-minute script. But he said we need around 2 weeks. And I was like, what are we going to do with this 2 weeks? Next day, I see on the dining table, there are a lot of
Research
stacks.
material.
And look at the variety, right? So one is about the geography and the weather and everything, the scientific part of it. One is about all the international missions. One is about all the Indian missions. One is just about the Chandrayaan-2. One is about the research papers. One is about the fiction. And he said we have to read all this together. And then we will sit down and write it. Why? Because when we know all these things, it will reflect in what we are writing. So first I thought this is too much to do. Because, for a 20-year-old, that was like hell lot of task to write a 15-minute script. But when we actually sat down to write a script, I knew what was he telling me.
And what were you missing out?
What was I missing on? And now when I have to write something, when I have to do something, I make sure that I'm putting that research, right?
Yeah,
I do
yeah.
it willingly. So I think I am so privileged that
You are.
I could learn all
Yes.
these things and I could...
Here's so many amazing stories up and close. And I guess it only just makes me learn also one thing, like never overestimate the kind of learning that you have and never underestimate the work that you're putting your hand into because it will always have something new to surprise you.
Very true.
I think that's learning. All right, so this was Miss Ruchira Sawant, as you all know, a storyteller at heart, first of all, who believes in hope, who believes in grit, who believes in passion, who believes in telling stories the way they are to normal humans in a way that they understand or feel at home with or feel the sense of relevance and, something that inspires and aspires them to be that they can be or that they dream to be. And that has been my learning, that you ask people the questions that they feel their position or their place acknowledged or their work acknowledged rather. And you tell these stories, not just to tell the stories, but to make sure that these stories remain and forever. Even through the people who live it and the people who will feel the need to live it once again in their spectrum. So that has been my learning. Space communicator, scientific communicator, and space enthusiast. It was a total privilege, Ruchira. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.